Welcome to this short training video on how to use myTIPreport for trainee assessments. We know that filling out assessments for residents can be time-consuming and may not provide meaningful feedback to trainees or clinical competency committees. Our goal is to make the process as simple as possible, yet still provide important feedback to our trainees and CCCs. This new app will allow you to document quick, 30-second assessments in real time throughout your regular clinical interaction with trainees. So let's get started. If you've not done so, now is a good time to download the app to your mobile phone. You should have already received a registration email with your username and password. Although the app can do lots of things, in this first pilot we will focus on submitting assessments for only two things: entrustable professional activities, also known as EPAs, and procedural skills. Let's start with EPAs. In order to make it easier for faculty to assess trainees, educators have developed EPAs, which represent the core clinical activities trainees are performing on a day-to-day basis. In anesthesiology, this means things like pre-opping a patient and obtaining informed consent, or managing labor analgesia, or the perioperative management of a patient undergoing a complex thoracotomy. These are the workplace-based activities anesthesiologists do every day, and this is why they've been chosen as the activities for faculty to assess. A national committee of academic anesthesiologists and education experts have developed a preliminary list of 20 core EPAs for us to use. Okay, let's give it a try. The myTIPreport app looks like two little people on a blue background. I simply tap the app. First, to reach the home screen, swipe right or hit the back button or hit 3 bars in the upper left. Once on the home screen, we select EPAs from the list of things we can assess. Then we choose the trainee we like to assess. The most recent trainees I've been working with show up at the top. At the bottom is a list of all the trainees. I can just select the trainee from the list, or I can search by name using the magnifying glass in the upper right. I will click the search magnifying glass and type Max. And you can see how it's filtered both the recent list and the list of all the trainees. And now I can just select Max. Now that I've selected the trainee, my next task is to select the EPA. Notice the list is organized into sections. The top section is the most recent EPAs I've been assessing, and down below is a list of all of the EPAs. I can simply scroll by swiping the list to find the EPA I want, or I can use the search magnifying glass. Notice I can collapse categories by clicking the arrow next to the EPA category name. I want to point out one special section here, which is the core activities. So I'm going to open the core activities. And you can see there are 4: airway management, PACU, pre-op assessment, and transfer of care. These are foundational activities. Okay, so let's say I want to complete an assessment for Max for doing that colectomy. So I want to go to the adult OR cases. I'm going to go ahead and open that up, and I'm going to scroll down, and then I see general operating room case with preoperative care. I simply click the Compose button on the right of the EPA. Now, I only have 3 things to do. The first is I select the difficulty of the case. We all know that not all colectomies are the same. What makes a case complex are patient comorbidities, complexity of the procedure, complications, or an emergency surgery that complicates anesthetic management. Of course, this is a judgment call, but you will know a complex case when you see it. Lucky for Max and I, this is a simple case. I tap Simple. Next, I select the level of supervision that I think Max required for this case. There are 5 levels of supervision. These have been shown to correlate well with how supervisors think about trainees. How much do I trust them to do this activity? If you click on the information icon, you can get a description of what each level of supervision means, but they should be pretty intuitive. If you click the information icon again, the extra information will disappear. At the lowest level, I had to do the activity, and they just watch. This is did activity. At the next level is direct supervision. I had to walk them through the procedure and do most of the things. I needed to be physically present for almost the entire case. The next level is reactive supervision. At this level, I needed to be present to direct them from time to time and when they call me. But they could consult me frequently if necessary, so that's reactive. As they gain experience and competency, perhaps, I will only need to be there when they need me. This is available if needed. The key here is they only need to consult me infrequently, but I needed to be available just in case. At the highest level is independent practice. They are ready for independent practice and could have easily done the activity without me. Okay, to review. I either did it and they watched. There was direct supervision where I needed to constantly direct them. Reactive supervision where they consulted me often, but I did not need to be there all the time. Available if needed, if they consulted me infrequently. And of course, the top level, independent practice. Let's say Max is early in his training, and I was present for induction and extubation. During the case, Max had to call me in several times to discuss minor items, and sometimes he just needed to ask questions on the phone. When I assess him for this case, I would select reactive supervision, because I trust Max to do this general OR case with frequent consultation from me. He wasn't quite to the level where I could be available as needed for rare consultation, so I select reactive supervision by tapping the bubble. The next thing I need to do is enter some comments. I can type them in, but I find dictation faster, so I will use the dictation function. I simply tap in the box, and then I click on the microphone. Max did a great job today, but I needed to work with him on his preoperative evaluation and make some adjustments to his plan, and also he had to call me several times to adjust management options, and these are the reasons that I chose reactive supervision. Now I click Submit, and I'm all done. Just 3 things to fill out to submit an assessment for a clinically meaningful activity. Piece of cake. Just a last few words about EPAs. You should fill out an assessment with just a few clicks for every case you work with a trainee. The more assessments we get, the better picture we are able to produce of the trainee's performance and progression. It may sound like a pain to do it for every case, but we have created a simple assessment you can do with just a few clicks, so it shouldn't take much time. When you fill out an assessment, you should be providing the trainee with feedback on what they focus on to reach that holy grail rating of independent practice. When you fill out an assessment, use it as an opportunity to provide the trainee with immediate feedback specific to that case. Lastly, notice on the list of EPAs that you can see how many assessments for each EPA Max has received. Right here, for general operating room case, Max has received 13 evaluations. Okay, in this pilot phase, faculty are only filling out evaluations for EPAs and procedural skills. Assessing a procedural skill is almost the exact same process. So I click the button, the back button, or I swipe to the right to return to the main screen. Now I click on Procedural Skills and select Max again. Now Max was the most recent resident I was working with, so it shows up on the top. Just like EPAs, I'm shown a list of procedures. Most recent procedures that I've been doing at the top, and then there's a list of procedures down below. Again, there are category buttons that I can use to open the category that will show me, or collapse the category, all of the things that are in that category. There are many more procedures than EPAs, so it's a much longer list. I will use the search function to narrow the list. So let's say I want to search for a radial art line. So I'm going to hit the search button, and I'm going to start typing radial, or let's see, I'm going to type art for art line. And you notice I have several options. Pulmonary artery catheter, peds femoral artery, and if I scroll down and under vascular access, I see femoral artery, here it is, radial artery catheter placement. I hit compose just like I did with the EPAs. Now Max told me he was trying to demonstrate independent practice. It's sort of like earning his A-line badge in the Scouts. After I click compose, I fill out the same 3 fields like I did for the EPA. This was a complex A-line, as the patient had 3 prior sticks by someone else, and the patient had peripheral vascular disease. Yep, he was ready for independent practice, and I tap that icon, and the next thing I do is put in my comments. Max did an excellent job on this arterial line. He needed no help from me, and he's ready for independent practice. Looks like I need to correct my dictation there. I hit done, and then hit submit. Okay, that about wraps it up. Select the EPA or procedural skill, select the trainee, and fill out only 3 items to submit an evaluation. And don't forget to use the evaluation as an opportunity to provide timely and specific feedback to the trainee. Lastly, Help the residents gain their procedural badges by filling out procedural skills evaluations.